You don't have to like me. I'll cancel the catering for the both of us. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I'm here to review episode 4 of The Real Cousins of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off right where we left off with Meredith walking away from Jen because in Meredith's words, Jen continues to be projecting, reflecting, selective, affecting, neglecting, adjective, selective, collective, all of that, because Meredith thought she was a rapper last episode and now she continues being that this episode. So she's walking away. Lisa goes after her and Lisa's like, no, Meredith, stop. You need to stop. Meredith, stop. No, you need to go back to Jen. You need to go back to Jen. And Meredith is so confused. Meredith is like, what's going on? Like, why are you stopping me? I'm good without Jen. Leave me alone. But Lisa continues to tell Meredith, like, no, you need to stay here and film with Jen. Andy, I didn't want to tell you this, but since you're walking away, I need to tell you that Andy texted me today and he said that he wanted me to get you to film with Jen and you need to kind of like squash this little issue that you have going on with Jen because we need to continue the storylines moving forward because I think she's going to get arrested around episode 10, around episode 9. I'm not really sure. He didn't really know either, but yeah, so you need to go back and film with her. And I didn't want to tell you this either, but he promised me a bigger paycheck, just one paycheck, if I just got you to turn around and go film with Jen. So that's why you need to do it. But Meredith is like, no, I don't need to. I'm good without Jen. I don't care if she apologizes to me. It does not matter to me. Like, if she is actually gonna apologize to me, she needs to like kind of own up to the situation first. But Jen, she continues not knowing what she's doing. She's like, what? What do you mean I like the tweet? What do you mean a Twitter? I never had a Twitter account. What are you talking about? And then Lisa tries to, she tries to relate to Meredith, and she's like, Meredith, back in the day, when Jack was like 3, somebody in a convenience store said that he had a big head, and I have never forgotten that. I have never forgotten that, and I still feel hurt to this very day. Like, I'm still trying to get over that situation. And I'm thinking, Lisa, what? Like, what does that have to do with the situation? I mean, she was desperate on getting Meredith and Jen to make it work. So having no luck with Meredith, Lisa walks over to Jen to try to see if she could calm her down, but Jen is not having it. Jen is like, I am leaving. I do not care if I don't get paid for today for filming anything. I'm going. So she storms off. Lisa, in one last attempt to try to get Jen to stay and to relax, she grabs her Louis Vuitton backpack and she puts it on and she's like, no, we're going to talk. Me and you are going to talk. And Jen is like, no, give me my backpack. Give me my backpack. And you can also see her little bracelet hanging off her wrist, and she takes it off and she flings it and then it goes missing in the snow. And Lisa's like, oh, no. Jen, we're going to have to continue this conversation in like 10 minutes. I'm going to go look for that because it's $70,000 worth of diamonds. And I'm like, what? Imagine if I was the cameraman. I mean, I would have been filming the scene like, okay, what is she doing? She's about to take off her bracelet. Wait a minute, why did she throw it over there? And then threw the camera and then start proceeding to run over to go get it. Like, no, that's $70,000 right there. And Lisa's just licking all over it like she's Velma looking for her glasses. She's like, I can't see without my glasses. Where's the bracelet? And eventually she finds it. I mean, I'm surprised because diamonds are like clear and it kind of just blends in with the snow. And she gives it to Stuart, which is Jen's first assistant, which I'm not really sure at what time he showed up because I wasn't sure if he was there last episode, but he was there regardless. She's like, here, you carry this. It's $7,000 worth. That's more than your paycheck. Here, put this in your pocket. Jen also asked Lisa a very interesting question. She's like, Lisa, if you're so obsessed with me and Meredith becoming friends and me and her being cool again, how come you don't have the same energy for Whitney and Heather? And then you see Heather on the side like, yes, I agree. And Whitney's like, yes, and I'm Team Jen now. Like, they're just on the side like, woo, like they're Jen's cheerleaders. And I'm also curious. I'm like, Lisa, so how come you want to hold hands with Meredith and Jen and, ring around the rosies and everything and make rainbows and portraits and all of that, but you don't want to fix anything with Heather or Whitney? Like, are we only selective of who we want to, rekindle friendships with, or what are we doing? So then Lisa goes over to her friend's house and we're introduced to a new friend of the show. And no, it's not Brooks. It's some woman named Angie. But before that, we get a woman who opens the door and her name is Sarah Jane, not Sarah Space Jane. It's Sarah Jane all put together. I'm like, okay, that's your name, that's that. Lisa goes in, they sit down on the couch, they start talking, all three of them. Angie kind of gives us a backstory how her and Lisa were friends for like 17, 20 years. They met. For a second, I thought that she had it said, oh, me and Lisa met because we were call girls. But no, she said because they were at a call center, they bonded over not, shutting up all the time. They always talk so much. They bonded over chicken, KFC. They like coleslaw. They like the potato wedges with macaroni and cheese on the side. Oh, it just sounded so good. And then in the same sentence, they're like, oh yeah, we like Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, how are we saying Chick-fil-A? And then next thing you know, she's like, oh yeah, I want to throw a LGBTQ community center event to raise money in gambling. And I'm like, wait, so we all know the relationship that Chick-fil-A allegedly has with the LGBTQ community, but you still want to eat there? I mean, we can't have both, Angie. You need to pick one. It's either the rainbow or the chicken. Which one? But regardless, she's throwing this huge event, and it's so interesting because this is the first scene that we get from the friend of the show. But Jenny has this is her 4th episode, and we haven't really gotten much out of her besides, her backstory where her husband, who's kind of like a jerk, forcing her to want more kids with him or whatever. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm assuming that both Angie and Jenny were testing out to see who's gonna get a snowflake this season, and I guess they went with Jenny, but I wonder why. I mean, Angie also tells Lisa that if she's gonna mind that, Whitney's also gonna be invited because apparently Angie is cousins with Whitney, but I'm not sure if they're real cousins or if she's just saying, oh yeah, we're like close friends, we're like best friends, or we're like, we're like cousins. And I'm not really sure if they're actual cousins. I mean, Lisa didn't really explain it either, nor does she buy it. She's like, yeah, they always say that they're cousins, but I don't believe it. I just don't buy it. So I'm kind of confused on that part. I mean, Angie and Whitney, are you cousins or are you not cousins? Or are you just labeling yourself that because you're that close? So then we head over to Mary's house, and she's in the kitchen, she's washing dishes, and then her son kind of creeps in, but he doesn't really say much. And Mary says, oh, he's still, trying to move out, but he has no plan and nothing has changed. And I'm like, but it's only been a week. I mean, what do you expect him to do? Like have a whole master plan in 7 days? I mean, it takes time, maybe he just needs some time to think about it. And he's not really saying much, and Mary is just like, oh, hey, are you gonna talk to mommy? Hey, I know you see me over here. Do you want to talk to mommy? Are you gonna talk to mommy? Come over here, let's talk. You don't want to talk to me? Don't let the cameras fool you. You don't have to be shy. Go ahead. Just talk to me. No, go ahead, talk to me. I'm not glitching. No, talk to me. Don't you love mommy? But he's just not saying anything to her. He is in complete silence. It's very sad. I'm hoping that he's genuinely just shy because the cameras are around, and maybe he's too shy to show affection. You know how kids are, but I don't know. It's very sad if that's the relationship between Mary and her son off of camera, because he did not say anything. And she was just like, okay, well, I love you. And luckily, Meredith, she rang the doorbell, so Mary went to go answer that. Meredith tells Mary, oh yeah, I just got done doing a blood facial. And I'm like, what, a blood facial? What kind of vampire are you, Meredith? I mean, I don't know if any of you have watched the movie Hostel 2. There's a scene where there's a woman and she's in a bathtub, and let's just say there's somebody who's kidnapped hanging from chains from the ceiling, and then the woman down there, she's just kind of like bathing in her blood as it's dripping down on her body and her face to keep her young. And supposedly there's another woman named Elizabeth Bathory, I believe her name is, and she also is she's in history for doing crimes like this, allegedly saying, oh, she got a bunch of people and she kind of bathed in their blood to keep herself young. So I don't know, Meredith, are you a vampire? Because if I was Mary, I would have been like, Meredith, you said you just got a blood facial, right? Okay, just wait outside my house for a second. I'm closing the door. I'm going to go over to the closet. I'm going to go get a mirror. I'm going to go get some onions or some garlic. And I'm going to go get a piece of wood and maybe sharpen the edge of it just in case if she really is a vampire. I'm going to go right back over to Meredith, open the door and be like, Meredith, can you just look at yourself in the mirror and see if you see your reflection? If you don't, I'm going to need you to exit my house quickly because I'm calling the cops. Like, no, that is very, very interesting. I mean, very strange too at that, because Mary was just like, that is DNA. That's just not like cream or some type of facial. That is blood on your face. And where's that blood coming from? Who knows? But regardless, they're sitting down. Mary tells Meredith, are you excited about the event that we're going to and everything? And Meredith is just like, Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm just like so excited. It's just gonna be such a wild night and it's gonna be so exciting. I mean, can't you tell that I'm just filled with joy? And I'm like, damn, Meredith, I mean, just, kind of fake it a little bit for the camera. She looks like she's about to cry. And she's like, yeah, this is gonna be your time. This is gonna be your first time seeing Jen since the reunion, right, Mary? And Mary's just like, yeah, I don't know how that's really gonna go. And her behavior is very unpredictable because I remember she posted these things on social media. Again, Jen's biggest downfall is social media. She just needs to like get off of it and just not ever go back on it. She's gonna be posting some BS. And I remember seeing the post that Mary was talking about with the grandfather and the little kid, and then seeing Mary and her grandfather, like the then versus now. I remember seeing that for the first time during season 1, and I was in complete shock. I'm like, wow, Jen, you really posted that. She has her little doubts about Jen, and it's understandable because, the way she was with Meredith, I could understand why Mary would be like, we could be cool, but maybe from a distance. So then we get a sit down between the cousins, Angie and Whitney, and they both sit down and they kind of confirm to us that they are cousins by blood because their grandfather, whose name is Shamrock Shake or something like that, he's related to both of them. So one of them was just like, oh my God, that's your grandfather? Oh my God, that's my grandfather too. Oh my God, we're like cousins now. Yay. So I guess it is confirmed that they are cousins by blood. Allegedly. I'm not sure still. Even with this explanation, I still didn't really quite understand it. I'm like, okay, whatever. If you're cousins, you're cousins. And that's that. So they're sitting down, and I see a lot of people online were saying that Angie looks like Sarah Paulson, and I kind of see it. I mean, the more I looked at her and the more she talked, I'm like, is that you? I mean, is Ryan Murphy just about to pop up from the corner like, okay, Sarah, I need you on the next season of American Horror Story? I was just waiting for him to come out of nowhere and just ask her, okay, you need to sign your contract because we're about to start filming. You need to leave the show. But yeah, she kind of does, resemble her. Do y'all see that? Do y'all think that she looks like Sarah Paulson? I think she does. This is where it gets a little bit messy because Angie tells Whitney, I know you have your issues with Lisa, and I told her that you and Heather were going to be at my event later on. And she's like, but the catering pulled out last minute, 5 hours after I told Lisa that you and Heather were going to be at the event. So, both of them are kind of speculating like, was it Lisa that told the catering, I don't want you to go there, I don't cater anything there? But I don't understand why Lisa will have that type of power. I mean, did she pay them not to go? I'm not understanding. Or does she own the catering company? I'm confused on that part. That's the only part that kind of threw me off. But I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Lisa, which is so odd because, again, at the beginning of the episode, she was just so pressed on getting Jen and Meredith to be best friends and to fix their issues, but yet her own issues she doesn't want to fix. So it's finally gambling/charity event time, and we see everybody getting ready. We see Whitney in the closet. She's with her husband getting ready. We see Jen in her closet getting the Erica Jane treatment because they're showing everything that's sparkly, everything that has a fur on it. She's in there with her assistant who's helping her get clothes together. She finally chooses an outfit and she's just like, I think I'm ready to collect. Collect what, Jen? Collect other people's money? Allegedly. And then we head over to Meredith's house. She's in the bathroom getting ready. She's all done. And, her relationship with her husband, Zeph, because he walks in right after, but he has no pants on. He just has this really nice blazer on. But their relationship really reminds me of the relationship that the two main characters had in the movie Gone Girl. I'm not sure if you watched that, but I don't know. It gives me the same exact vibe. I mean, Meredith is very, she's very spooky, very dark, very mysterious, and her husband's kind of like innocent, and he's just kind of like, oh, I'm happy to be with you. I don't know. I can just picture Meredith, concocting this whole idea of her pretending to be kidnapped and disappearing for like a whole month for a storyline and then come back like, I don't know what happened, but Zeph, me and you are gonna stay together forever, okay? And that's just the way it's gonna be. Everybody's arriving one by one to Angie's event, and I completely forgot that this was her house that she was having it at. I thought she had rented out like a space or something, but her house is huge to fit all the props, the huge dice, the huge gambling tables, like all of that. And then she had a table to the side with like free jewelry. I'm not sure if it was free or you had to return it or buy it or something, but she had diamonds there that everybody had to wear. And I'm like, what? If I was invited to this party, I would have been like, I would have been like Bugs Bunny, like, oh, I like carrots. Like just collecting one by one as I'm walking by. Oh yeah, I want a cocktail. And then while the person's turned around, oh, let me get another necklace and just put it down my shirt. But regardless, I really like the theme. I love parties that are themed. I love the huge dice. Everybody was gambling. Supposedly with the Mormons, according to, I believe it was Meredith or Lisa, one or the other. They said that gambling is kind of like looked down upon or something. I'm not sure, but it's just gambling. So it is what it is. And it's for a good cause. This whole event, by the way, was brought up because Angie and Chris, her husband, have a transgender child. So I thought that was nice of Angie to do. And Chris, he introduces himself to Jen, and I don't know if you caught it, but Chris was just like, "Oh, hey, I'm Angie's wife." And then he caught himself. He's like, "Oh no, I meant husband. Oh no, but I can be her wife." And I'm like, Chris, what are you trying to tell us here? Like, what are you into? As everybody's getting situated throughout the party, we see Mary, Whitney, and Jenny, and they're in their corner, and they're looking over, and they see Jen, and then Mary's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going through Jen. I'm not even walking by her. I'm just gonna try to climb this wall to try to avoid her and go around her." And then they proceed to try to climb it. Mary's trying, but it's too high up. She's like, "You know what? Never mind. I'm not doing it." But here comes Whitney, and Whitney actually does it. I mean, I don't know. Whitney, that was just, you were doing too much right there. Like, you didn't have to do it. It was funny when Mary was doing it, but you sit your ass down. Regardless, she climbs over, and then Mary and Jenny are like, "Oh, well, we were just kidding, but we're not doing the most, you thirsty ass bitch. But okay, we're gonna walk around." So they walk around. Eventually, Lisa and her husband show up, and Lisa sees Jenny, and Lisa's like, "Jenny, oh my God, Jenny, oh my God, let me run to you." So she runs over to Jenny. Jenny is standing right next to Whitney, and Lisa hugs Lisa hugs Jenny. She's like, "Mwah, mwah, hey, Jenny." And then again, Whitney is right here, and Jenny is right here, and Lisa's just like, "Hey, Jenny, how are you?" And Whitney's just like, and she looks right into the camera. She like kind of like breaks the fourth wall. I'm like, don't do that. Look away. But Lisa's husband actually greets Whitney. And if I was Lisa, I would have had a conversation with him like, "Listen, come over here. I know you're my husband and all, but me and her, we have an issue right now. So if I'm not speaking to her, you're not speaking to her. So don't say hi to her. Don't acknowledge her. Ignore her like how I just did, okay? Like, just do that." But Lisa is my type of petty. I mean, was it childish? Maybe, but so what? Lisa was just looking over, and she looked over at Whitney, and Whitney's like, "Oh, hey, I was just telling John." And then Lisa's like, "So anyways, hey, Jenny." She just cut her off mid-sentence and just looked away like, "Damn, Lisa, you have a lot of nerves to do that." If I was Whitney, I would have grabbed Lisa by the shoulder, turned her around like, "No, you're going to listen to me. I said I was telling John." Like, you're gonna listen to me. I'm wearing this raggedy pink outfit that looks like a tablecloth wrapped around my chest. You're gonna acknowledge me, Lisa. This is not how we're starting off the party. Lisa does make herself look a little suspicious when she says, "Oh, there's nothing like a charity event with no catering." And I'm like, now Lisa, why would you choose those specific words to come out of your mouth when you just got to the event? I'm like, now were you the one that messed up the catering? I mean, she's literally like the one that throws the rock, hides her hand, and it's like, "Oh, who threw that? Who threw that rock? It wasn't me." That's the type of thing that Lisa was kind of, showing at this party right now. I'm like, I got my eye on you, Lisa. Regardless, everybody else is enjoying their night at the party. We see Meredith and Zeph, they're gambling, and Zeph is like, "Oh yeah, this is where we put the chips. We put this for birthdays, we put this for anniversaries, we put this for how many times we had sex, 0. So she puts the chip on 0. And then Mary, she's somewhere over there talking to Sarah Jane, the other friend, and she's like, "Yeah, my name comes from the Bible." I'm like, of course, Mary will have a random conversation about the Bible and where her name comes from and all of that. And then we see Heather, and she also gets to talking to Meredith and Zeph. And Zeph, he was very bold for his comment. He was like, Heather, you're kind of boring. Your personality, it's kind of dry because you're always talking about being a Mormon. You always want to talk about your daughter and how you want her to be a hoe in college. But I never really noticed your breasts. I mean, they look really, really good. I mean, they look juicy." And Heather's like, oh, thank you. Yes, I wanted to be known for my breasts." And Meredith is just sitting there like, wait a minute, are these two into that? I mean, are they trying to take Heather home with them? I mean, Zeph and Meredith, what are you really trying to do? I mean, I'm here for it, but I just want to know. So then Chris, Angie's husband, who also resembles the man who kidnapped Woody in Toy Story 2, the movie, he makes a beautiful speech, and then Angie lets us know in her confessional that her and her husband are not Mormon because until people in the LGBT community get the same rights as the Mormons do, and the Mormons kind of open up a little bit more, they're not going to be a part of that because, you know, their child is transgender and they don't want to be excluded. So I really love that. I'm like, wow, I like that, Angie. You're coming on very strong your first appearance, and I like that. It's really, really good look. And then after the speech is done, Angie makes her own speech, and she's like, okay, now we're gonna take your money because, you know, it's a charity event. And then one of her friends, or the CEO or whatever he was, his name is Josh. He's like, oh yeah, I like to make a toast. I like to make a donation. Yeah, so we're gonna donate $1 million. And I'm like, what? 1 million? Like, he's just dropping 1 million just like that. I'm like, wow. Hey Josh, if you're watching this, like, follow me on Instagram or something, you know, call me. So as Mary is sitting down, Jen sneaks her way over to her to try to take her credit card, and she sits behind her and she's like, hey Mary, how are you? Let's talk. I think we should throw an event together or something. And Mary's just like, no, I don't think so, no. But, you know, I don't blame Mary because if I was Mary, if I was anybody in the cast, I wouldn't trust Jen because we see how Jen is in these friendships. She could have very, very, very many toxic ways in friendships where she kind of plays you into thinking that you're the one that's doing wrong, when in reality, it's really her. And Mary's just like, I don't know, you know, we burnt this bridge, but I guess I can have my door open, but the door is going to be open, but it's going to have an electric fence in front of it. I love that. I was like, oh, that is very creative, Mary. That is very cool. You know, next time I have an issue with somebody, I'm going to tell them that, like, okay, you know what? I'm open to being cool again, but I'm going to have my doors open for you, but it's going to have an electric fence in front of it. I love that. You know, I really do enjoy seeing Mary open up and be like, seeing much more of her this season than we got last season. Last season, we really didn't get much of her besides her being in the closet. So I'm just enjoying her being out there. I mean, yeah, she has her ways where, you know, she's also not right there. You know, she's missing a couple marbles, but I do enjoy her for the show. And then Sarah Paulson goes over to Lisa and she's like, Lisa, can we just talk for a second, just one-on-one? I just want to talk to you really quickly. They go over to a private room. They sit down and she continues with Lisa and she's like, you know, Lisa, I'm very sad right now. I'm very, very sad. I'm very emotional. I'm just very sad because Ryan, you know, Ryan Murphy, he keeps texting me and he keeps wanting me back for American Horror Story back to back to back to back. It's been like 10 years and I can't do anything else outside of that. Like, I want to do something else because everybody loves me, but I'm just so loyal to him. You know, I really like his projects, and I don't know. I heard I'm going to be doing something in American Horror Story double feature or something like that, and I'm just very devastated about Lisa. You know, also my catering thing. Did you meddle in it? Because I don't know. I got text messages saying that they canceled 5 hours after I told you that Heather and Whitney were going to be there. So I just want to know, was it you? And Lisa's just like, what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me? I don't get it. Like, what does that have to do with me? I mean, okay, I get it. There's no food here, but what does that have to do with me? Then Angie drops the ball on her and she's just like, well, I mean, they mentioned your name in the text message, and Lisa just looks so stuck. Lisa was just like, oh, huh? I'm like, Lisa, you got caught. I don't know. I mean, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Lisa meddled in it? Angie does think that she has something to do with the whole situation. She's just like, you know, I feel like you're looking at this whole situation because me and Whitney are friends, well, we're cousins. And I feel like maybe you did play something into it. And Lisa's just like, so you think that I played something into this whole situation of you having no catering just because I have no type of good relationship right now with Whitney? I can't believe you, Angie. No, I would never do that. Angie asked Lisa a random question. She's just like, do you think that Jen comes between you and Meredith's friendship? And I'm like, what does that have to do with the situation of you and the catering? I mean, that question was just so out of left field, and Lisa was just like, what? Okay, let me go get them. So she runs out, she go gets Jen, she go gets Meredith. Meredith's over there having a cocktail. She brings them in here, and Angie's like, do you think that Jen, or do you think that she interferes in your friendship between you and Lisa? And Meredith is like, does she interfere? Not really. I mean, we just kind of had a little blow up, but that was that. I mean, we're good now. And I just don't understand what the point of the question was. Jen, she's sitting down there and she's all of us too, at least for me. Jen was just like, I don't get what this fight is about. I mean, at least with me, I want to drown people and throw drinks and smash things, but I don't understand what this fight is about. And I was kind of confused at where the whole direction of the whole issue was going in the first place to begin with. Whitney is outside listening to everything that's going on inside, and production is telling her, okay, Whitney, you need to go inside. You need to go inside. There's about to be drama. We need to see you versus Lisa right here, right now. We're going to film it. Do you want a snowflake for next season or not? Because we could take your snowflake and melt it. What are we doing? Are you going to go inside the room or not? So Whitney goes inside. She sits down awkwardly right next to Angie, and Chris, her husband, also goes in there, and he's looking like somebody's psychologist, and he sits right next to Angie, you know, puts his arm around her. And then Lisa, as she's talking back and forth with Angie, she sees that Whitney sits next to her, and she's like, what are you doing here? Again, Lisa was so bold, because if I was Whitney, if I was Whitney, I would have been like, listen, I'm only in here because production and Andy threatened to melt my snowflake, and I was not gonna have one for next season. So I'm in here because we need to produce this scene. Second of all, who the fuck are you talking to? Because you are not about to ask me, oh, what are you doing here? This is not even your house, Lisa. Like, who are you talking to? And Whitney's like, well, I'm just in here because I hear what's going on and I want to defend Angie. And Lisa's like, well, Angie could defend herself. And Whitney's like, well, no, it's not fair that you told Angie she needs to unfollow me from TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I just made some really good TikToks that went viral. And you told her to unfollow me? How dare you? And then Lisa got upset, and she kind of like looked exposed in her head, like in her face, like, wait a minute. Oh, you weren't supposed to know that. Angie, why would you tell her that? Like, what's going on? Like, do we not trust each other no more? Like, what's going on here? Lisa is making a valid point to a certain extent by saying, oh, Angie, if you had any type of accusations that it was me who messed up your catering, you should have called me right then and there instead of waiting for the event, the actual night of the event, to question me on it, or let alone going to Whitney, somebody who I do not have an issue, who I currently have an issue with, who's obviously not gonna look at me in the best lighting. Of course, you go to Whitney, Whitney's gonna trash Lisa and be like, you know what? Yeah, I think she did have something to do with it. And Lisa didn't make her case any better, because she gets up and she starts kind of crying, or I don't know what she was doing. I mean, there was no tears coming out, but she was just like, no, I'm done with this. I'm over it. No, Whitney, screw you, Angie. I can't believe you. You were a friend of the show and I brought you on, and this is how you do me. No. You don't have to like me because I love myself enough for the both of us. So I'm leaving. And then she ends up leaving. Everybody was left in the room looking confused, like, okay, what was that about? Did she actually have a play into the whole catering thing? Whitney is saying that she is guilty of it because she knows Lisa well enough by now that her theatrics and her antics, you know, all of that is leading to I'm guilty. But I guess we'll never know. And that was the episode, y'all. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that Lisa had a play in the catering canceling on Angie's event because she didn't want the catering to go there only because Angie was friends with Whitney and Heather were gonna come to the event? I don't know. I mean, it looks suspicious, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Lisa is not looking good for you, but what do y'all think? Do y'all think she was lying? But that's that, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Bye, y'all. Mwah.